Good morning. My name is Rupert Megnott from Burnout Game Ventures, where we incubate game ideas from zero to sales in 6 months or less. In addition to 35 years of entrepreneurial experience, I've taught aspiring game producers at the master's degree level good project management practices, the former students of which are helping manage almost $2 billion in game IP. One of the things I've found is that game developers generally don't know how to make a business out of their game idea. They're focused on making games they want to sell, not necessarily games people want to buy. And they don't plan, so their scope, schedule, marketing all go out the window. So our solution is that we're more than an incubator or accelerator. We provide them with all the talent, resources, processes, and motivation they need in order to create great games as quickly as possible. Now, we do this because we believe that, honestly, if you're not helping others, then what the hell good are you? And we also believe that the ultimate goal of a leader is to make more leaders. So we currently have 10 people that are each leading up to 20 people to game immortality, and our goal to create 50 games in the next 5 years. Now, we all know that the game industry is over $100 billion, and it's bigger than film and TV, and it's growing at 8 to 12% a year religiously. So what's the problem? Well, the thing is a vast majority of the games released each year are indie games, and they have 95% of them fail to break even. And so I'm asking myself, well, where's 60 billion in growth coming from in the next 5 or 6 years when a vast majority of your market participants are failing? So then I ask you, well, wait a minute, what if we could drop that 95% figure to 90% or 85 or 75%? Well, the thing is we figure that if we can drop it, for every 5% we can drop that, we can help create 150 successful game companies. If they just limited themselves to Steam, that could generate 100 mil. So, I mean, you do the math. So, besides, I mean, aren't indies supposed to be the savior of the industry? So, there's 30,000 students and 400 game-related programs around the world. And when you throw in all the prolific and non-prolific indies and new entrepreneurs and so forth, we figure there's about 35,000 potential customers. So where do these people go to make games or to help them with games? Well, right now, we have 9 direct competitors worldwide. There's 3 in the US and none on the Eastern Seaboard. Now, these gamers can also go to, there's thousands of incubators and accelerators around the world, but they don't have industry-specific people. They don't have our talent pool or proprietary processes. They cost money that they don't have, and forget about marketing. You can also go to a publisher. Well, publishers will typically take your IP and your creative freedom, and if you're lucky, you get 10% of the profits. Now, that's nothing to shake a stick at, but really? Okay. So at BGV, we have an extensive talent pool, and we have proprietary processes, no out-of-pocket expense, and they get to keep their IP and their creative freedom. Another great thing about it is that all our competitors are static. They're limiting their target markets because they're making people come to them. Whereas with our virtual startup operations, we can create a new office in a month. So I can have 5 offices in 5 years. I can have 25 offices in 5 years. So we're about as scalable as a business can possibly be. Now, right now we have 120 devs working for 8 game startups, 6 of which we've created, on 10 projects. The first one was released last June. It's Bit Evolution by Major Games on Steam. And it's getting close to about 10,000 units. And typically a game that's in green light that gets greenlit takes 17 months to get there. We did it in less than 6. And when a game gets through early access, it usually takes 19 months, and we did it in 19 weeks. And PewDiePie reviewed it, and we also have got an 8.1 from IGN. Now, and as we speak, they have 2 other titles that are getting ready for release, one of which is a previous PAX East finalist. All this takes talent, as you can imagine. We currently have over 300 people in our core talent pool and another 3,000 in our network. And what we do is once the team gets situated and together, then we fix to learn them. Okay, we put everybody on the team through an intense 1-month project management course, at the end of which they have all the planning documentation they need to create a great game. And then while the game is being developed, the leadership of the team then goes through additional training in all those things entrepreneurs need: marketing and public relations, accounting and finance, et cetera, et cetera. And then, of course, all our staff and our advisors then help mentor everybody on the team through the duration. The core aspect of our model is that we're all entrepreneurs. Nobody gets paid until the game ships. And when you do that, you take salaries out of it, we reduce the cost of making a video game by 75%. And then when you throw in our proprietary processes and lean startup methodology, we knock off another 20%. So instead of $750,000 to make an indie game, we're doing it for $5,000 to $15,000. So you can imagine what that does for our ROI. Speaking of which, we have multiple revenue streams that are both asset sale and usage fee based. And the primary one is that we get up to 50% of the net revenues for each game we help develop, and up to 20% of the equity. And when we have multiple games going on and releasing all the time, the bottom line is we don't need a hit to be successful and sustainable. And not only that, but we've got multiple games, multiple platforms, multiple genres. People, we're like a mutual fund of video games. And another revenue center is where we have paying customers. They pay us $2,500 a month per person on the team, plus a 25% back end. And then we're developing relationships with Epic and Unreal and Unity for their asset stores. Well, they tell us what's missing, and then we deliver. We have other revenue streams as well. These are the top 3. So you might ask yourself, well, who the hell are these people, and do they have the chops to make this work? I've got a Rollins MBA. I've got patents in simulation and virtual reality. I've helped over 200 high-tech startups with business planning, product development, project management, and capital acquisition services. I ran a simulation company for 11 years, and I have taught students, shared my experience with students at both UCF and Full Sail, 2 of the top game schools in the world. I've also put together a team of world-class advisors, starting with, for example, Dennis Price. Dennis Price did the cinematics for World of Warcraft, StarCraft, Forza Motorsport. Pascal Laban is a world-renowned designer, did Splinter Cell, Alone in the Dark. Levon Lewis is a BAFTA and Oscar-nominated audio engineer, worked on Assassin's Creed and a whole bunch of other titles. Jason Gerald is one of the top VR people on earth. I mean, pretty much anybody who's done anything with virtual reality, he's helped them. Oculus, NASA, JPL, Valve. And Joe Nax. Joe Nax is the former senior director for global technology services for EA. So we intend to have 40 people like this by the end of next year, well, as soon as possible. So what's in it for you? Well, we're seeking $500,000, and we're going to divvy it up basically 30% for salary wages for 4 people, marketing and product development. The product development, about 8 to 12 projects, and the rest is G&A. And our proposed methodology is a convertible preferred debt that's funded through revenue sharing. And the beauty of that is that we, based on what my consultants and so forth and attorneys tell me, is we get around a lot of the SEC problems, and then generally you can be generating cash flow fairly quickly, if not immediately. So we anticipate that we'll be generating critical mass and sustainability within 8 to 12 months. And at that point, we can start generating a 25% internal rate of return. So, we've got the team, we've got customers, we've generated some traction. It's a wide open market. So, I encourage you to do the industry a favor and invest in Burnout Game Ventures today. Yes? The key differentiator from them is that, number one, we're mobile. Okay, Yeti Zen is stuck in San Francisco. They really can't go anywhere else. You got to come to them if you want to be part of their group. And they're only handling about 8 projects right now. We can handle, if I have 5 offices, we're handling 100 projects. And we could be all over the world, and we don't have to worry about that. So I hope, does that answer your question? Okay. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Correct. Bit evolution cost about $4,500. 15 people have been working on it in the core team for about, well, it took them 10 months to get to where they are today.
I'm struggling to see how you get from 15 people in 10 months to about that.
Because, yeah, we don't pay them. We're all entrepreneurs. It's all back end. They're delivering pizzas. They're working at Home Depot, and they're doing everything. See, again, we're all entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are those who found and run an enterprise based on two things: risk and initiative. So they're taking the initiative to create the games. We're spurring that initiative, and their risk is basically they're doing whatever they can to pursue their dreams, and that's what we do. Yes.
What's the trade with them?
The trade with them is we get anywhere between 20 to 50% of the net revenues for 3 years.
And what do they get?
They get a game that's successful and the game credits and multiple game titles.
So they get the balance.
Yeah. Yeah, they get.
Are you charging? Do you charge them to come through your system?
No out-of-pocket expense. No. Mm-mm. They come to us, and once they pitch us, and we like the game and everything and the idea, then we bring them in. They have access to our talent pool. They recruit their own people, and then once they have the team together, then we put them through the program.
So your talent pool, where is that?
All over. 60% are in the Central Florida area. 85% are in the Southeast, and the rest are all over the world.
And are they part of people who are getting the $4,000, or is the talent pool also people who are free? In other words,
The $4,000?
Yeah, so there's $4,500 or so in order to $1.
Oh, for Bit Evolution, for example, they're all in Central Florida.
And are they the same people that are joining your network are also part of your talent pool? Or is
Yes.
Got it.
So people come to the website.
Network, then you're putting together people who have time on their hands with others who have ideas, and you're saying, okay, let's all get in here, and you're doing the project management for them.
Yes.
Okay.
In short order, yes.
Is this investment, or do you have a physical location in Florida?
Currently, we're all virtual. The goal is that once we get past critical mass, that I'd like to have an office, because we envision having a makerspace in there for people to create things, conference rooms and things like that. When you have a couple hundred people, they like to meet. Where are they going to meet? So eventually we definitely want to have some space, yes. No. Yes.
Who are the owners of this?
Me.
So you're the sole owner?
Correct. Okay. Yes. I've put about 100,000 into it so far, and that's the the 4,500. This is the 4,500 and the 15,000 and whatnot. That's out of my pocket, but that's what goes to buying computers, software licenses, Mountain Dew pizza, right? I need to provide them what they need to develop their projects. Okay, everything else they take care of themselves. Yes. It's a little bit of both. What I'm doing is marketing is the crux, and the world is full of people that'll charge us $5,000 a month to do what a couple interns will do, and with no guarantees on the results. And that's not how I was raised in marketing. And so we're developing our own marketing company and marketing arm to really go after the social networking and build up the fan base, and making sure that people, when the game is released, it gets a good hit. Because I don't want to spend 6 months in early access or anything like that. I want it to happen like that. So that's going to take a lot of marketing effort. Does that answer your question?
Who funds the marketing?
I'm funding everything right now. On a previous teacher salary that I gave up a year ago. I am. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everyone.